Hey guys, today we're in downtown Brooklyn.
And we will be breaking bread.
Literally, so don't go anywhere. Hey guys, welcome to Breaking Bread. I'm Johanna.
And I'm Monsignor Jamie, and today we're in downtown Brooklyn. We will be visiting Our Lady of Lebanon Maronite Cathedral.
We're here with Monsignor James, the pastor of Our Lady of Lebanon. Thank you for having us here, Monsignor James.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Monsignor.
Monsignor, tell us a little bit about this church, now cathedral.
Yes, it's the mother church of the Eparchy of St. Maron of Brooklyn.
Okay.
At one time, it was the mother church for the whole United States until approximately 1992, 93, when they separated and divided us, I should say, into two eparchies. At the time when Bishop Zayek was the first eparch, the first bishop here, we were approximately 70 parishes. Now, throughout the United States, we're close to 100 parishes in both eparchies.
Wow. Now tell us a little bit about, the Maronite Church and how is that different from the, the Latin Church?
There are 22 ritualistic churches, as you know, Father, so we're one of the 22, one of the smaller of the two, and our tradition comes out of the Syriac branch of Christianity. So our liturgy is a Deccan Syriac, which means it's both a little Greek and a little bit of Semitic background. And we still use Syriac Aramaic, the language of Christ, during the Divine Liturgy as well.
Monsignor James, I want to know more about the history of the church. And this is a gorgeous, gorgeous cathedral.
Thank you.
Now, it was built in the early 1840s?
1844, Richard Upjohn, who built Wall Street, Trinity Wall Street, also was the architect here. It was originally a church of the Pilgrims. It was a Congregationalist church. We know that Harriet Tubman prayed in this church. It was part of the Underground Railroad.
Amazing.
Yes. And then we purchased it in 1944 and consecrated it on the feast of St. Maron in the year 1946, on February the 9th of 1946.
And it was designated a cathedral?
In 1977 by Pope
Paul VI.
Pope Paul.
Pope Paul VI.
Yes.
I was going to say, because we've only had John Paul II, so we can't jump to the sixth that far.
Nope, not yet. I was sent here as a newly ordained priest back in 1985. And when I got back here, I tell everybody I was exiled for 20 years and then brought back. When I got back here, some of those same people are still in this community. And the church has changed in a way because of the new immigration and the civil war in Lebanon. That changed a lot.
I was going to ask you, is there any particular efforts that you guys are currently having to support families or, family members and people that are part of your congregation for the conflict in Syria?
And for Lebanon, constantly. I'm on the board for Caritas Liban, which is Catholic Charities of Lebanon. Both eparchies, we have approximately 8 from each eparchy, and we're trying to raise funds. Many of the orders of sisters and the religious monks, they have hospitals and clinics and whatnot. So we're always trying to do, and sometimes they cannot get certain antibiotics and medications and whatnot. So then we gather the doctors and we try to do our best and send over supplies as well.
We got to pray that, there's some peace that comes to that. I mean, the people are suffering so much, and especially, Christians too.
Through the efforts of His Excellency Bishop Gregory, we have a great rapport with the mosques in the neighborhood as well. And so we gather at least every year. And also, thanks to Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio too. Bishop DiMarzio has helped. And we have had interfaith awareness celebrations, prayers, both at St. James Cathedral and here as well, for Lebanon and for Syria.
I know Father Massey is very much involved with the ecumenical movement in our diocese.
It's nice to have him down the street from us.
I know he's not far from you. So tell us a little bit about the cathedral here. I mean, it's so beautiful when you walk in, and it's so beautiful. Your eyes go right to the stained glass windows, the chandeliers. I mean,
Tell
tell
us
us a little bit
about
about
the
it.
doors.
The doors.
That's what we really
Is it
want to
true?
Where do
know
you
about.
start?
On the way here, I told Johanna, is it true that they came from
They're
a famous ship?
The Normandy.
The Normandy. Normandy. Okay, the Normandy.
Not only did they come from the ship, but my dining room table in the rectory is the captain's table from the Normandy as
Oh,
well.
wow.
And then how did your
Their
church
loss
come?
was your gain.
Yeah,
How did it come
Monsignor
here?
Stevens, who purchased this building. Our original church was on Hicks Street, where Catholic Charities parking lot
Right.
is. They moved over here, and he started. That's why it took him 2 years just to start putting some of the decorations and whatnot. For instance, the wooden doors that from the vestibule into the cathedral proper, those are from the Charles Schwab mansion.
Wow.
From
So he went
his-
around shopping.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure he read the paper and read about the Normandy and said, let me go see if they're
He
selling something.
loved antiquity. He loved antiques, and so he just purchased a lot of things.
Wow.
The sanctuary, the marble and the onyx are from the Lebanese and French pavilions from the 1939 World's Fair. Because when this was originally a Congregationalist church, there would have been no altar, no reredos, obviously, no tabernacle then. So this was all, there was actually additional pews that we had
To remove from the front.
had to take them
Yeah.
out in order to put in the sanctuary to make it.
He's a man after my own heart. They call me the modern day Robin Hood.
James, tell us a little bit about the stained glass windows.
These stained glass windows, they're very unique. The artist who designed them and then died relatively quickly after they were installed. I mean, within a year. I think it was that sudden that he passed. His name
Was he upset with his work?
No, I don't think so. I hope not. His name was John Croty from France. And he used the Jameau process. What it is, it's like mosaic. It's pieces of cut glass sandwiched between two panes of glass with the clear epoxy and then baked. The top windows are brighter. The ones on the bottom are the 12 apostles. Okay. And Judas Iscariot is not there, but Thaddeus is.
Okay.
So when the people from his village look, they say, this is from this family and this one's from this family. Because he used, again, individuals that he knew. No.
Thank you so much for having us, Monsignor James.
Thank
and
you.
if you want to visit Our Lady of Lebanon, here's the address.
So up next, we're off to a Lebanese bread factory, so don't go away.
This show is brought to you by Liquid Dreams Design. Outstanding for all your printing needs, especially same-day service, including banners, signs, posters, graphics, custom wall coverings, and step-and-repeat backdrops. Call 718-627-8599 now and mention DeSales Media to get 10% off. Or visit their website at liquiddreamsdesign.com.
Welcome back to Breaking Bread. We are here in the factory of Damascus Bakery, where for many years the pita bread baked here was one of Brooklyn's best kept secrets.
And today they make all sorts of specialty breads that are distributed all over the country. And today we have with us the owner of Damascus, Ed Mahfoud.
Thank you for having us, Ed.
Thank you very much.
Thank
It's
you
a pleasure
for-
to have you here. Welcome to my home.
This is your home, right?
It's been my home for so many years now. I'm going to tell you that I'm third generation. My mother's father started this business back in 1930. He having immigrated from Damascus, Syria back in the 1920s.
Hence the name.
Hence the name Damascus. Great name, Gates of Damascus.
1920s.
1930. They decided that there was a need for pita pockets and flatbreads in the local ethnic community. So he opens up this bakery in 1930, which, as you can imagine, is not a very good year because it's the start of the height of the Great Depression.
Now, Ed, is this the first original factory?
We are the first original factory in the United States.
And this one's it, where we are standing right now?
Well, actually, our flagship store is at 195 Atlantic Avenue. We being here in Dumbo because several years back, or I'm going to say 2 decades ago, when we found that we couldn't produce enough bread in that retail store, we needed a larger facility in which to make more bread. So hence we're here in Dumbo.
Now, how many different types of breads do you make here?
Well, if I had to count the different types of bread, I mean, every time we produce a different thickness and variety of flatbread, that's going to run into the hundreds. So we produce a flatbread that is as thin as 1 millimeter, and now lately we've been producing thicker flatbreads, and we call them pizza crust or Mediterranean crust because that's where the market is. People want crusts in which they can put toppings and throw it into the oven very quickly under a couple
pizza.
of minutes. Quick pizza, a couple of minutes, maybe under 5 minutes. Pull the pizza out of the oven and serve it up hot. Cut it into wedges and serve it to their families.
So you guys have been making pita bread since the 1920s here in the U.S. But when did pita bread actually start becoming popular?
Well, the pita bread took a life of its own in the 1960s, I want to say, in conjunction with the popular diets of then, inclusive of the Pritikin diet. So Mr. Pritikin writes a book and he mentions pita pockets as being the product, the bread go-to because it's relatively low in calories and low in carbohydrates. So even back then they were talking about calorie count and carbohydrate count. So that's when pita pockets started to take a life on its own. And from there, the flatbreads, be it from pockets to thinner breads, it's been driving us all these years up to present time.
So you can see why it's so popular today with everyone so calorie conscious that they would like to have all sorts of flatbreads and pita bread. So in other words, if someone wants to come out and put out a product, they will come here and you would maybe customize the bread to what they're looking for.
That's most of what we do. We deal with large restaurant chains out there that want a proprietary or what I call a signature bread. It may be a special flavor or a type of thickness or even a shape. We're capable of making our flatbreads in different shapes. We do certainly we do round breads, we do square breads, rectangles, but we can do heart shape. We can even do breads in the shape of the pearly gates. It all depends on what the customer wants. We customize. We never tell a customer, well, here, this is off the shelf. We prefer to work with customers and have them dictate to us so we can create a signature bread which they can call their own.
It's great. I know you're not going to show us some of your secrets, but I think you're going to show us around.
I definitely will. Again, welcome to my home and let's take a tour.
Yeah, let's
Quite
do
the
it.
operation.
So we are here with Anthony, who's going to tell us all about how to make bread. Anthony, thank you for showing us around.
No problem.
All right, so first of all, where are we standing right now? What's going on?
Right now, this is the scaling area.
Scaling area.
This is where we scale all our products.
Okay.
We scale it here to get ready to go into the batch to mix.
Okay, so I take it this is the scale right there.
This is a batch that's already scaled up right now.
Okay.
These are all our ingredients. We have a formula that we follow on the computer for everything, all the ingredients that goes into the batch. After we scale everything here, then we take it over to the dosing station and we put it in the mix.
So what kind of ingredients do we have here?
I mean, this is just a few of the ingredients that we use: Restore Plus, Long Life. We have cow crow, fumaric acid, honey, flax. Basic ingredients that we use in.
So what kind of bread are we going to be making today? Say whole wheat flat bread.
No, actually we're making our all natural flax.
All
Okay,
natural.
all natural. That sounds healthy. I just want to, low calorie, healthy, following the eating trends of America.
Which I mind you is the best in the country too, if not the world.
We don't want to start Peruvian bakery.
You have a place in heaven, okay?
But everything is computerized now, right?
Yes.
Everything is weighed exactly.
Everything is weighed, everything is measured out, everything is computerized, and then after we go here, we go over there and it gets weighed again before it goes into the batch. It went over to the RDP.
Hi, Odd.
How are you? Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us here. So we are at the third step.
Yes.
Is that correct? So what is happening here?
So you saw the dough coming inside.
Yes.
Then the dough will pass through this equipment and arrive like in a big, thick sheet.
And that's what we see right here. It's
Yeah,
about this
it's
thick.
really big. But we need to do a product clean like this one.
Nobody wants to eat bread like this.
So,
And that is what's coming out over there.
exactly. We call that lamination. So we laminate the dough.
Oh.
Get
Right.
ready a thin dough.
And there's flour that comes on top, you put on top so it doesn't stick.
Exactly.
So what's going on in this step over here?
Oh, we are at the cutting station. Because now we have our dough, we need to cut the bread to bake the bread. So you will see here. Our cutter.
Okay. So now this here is putting air into the dough, making
So
holes in it.
That's what we call a docker. So that will make some small perforation on the dough to avoid any bubbling during the baking
So the air
process.
comes out,
Yeah.
the
And
steam.
here I thought that was just for decoration. I've always wondered why all the pita bread always had little dots right there.
If not, you have a pocket bread.
Yeah.
Right, right,
All
right.
Now I'm really, really hungry. So how many more steps are there? We're on the fourth step.
2 more steps.
2 more steps.
Yes, 2
All
more.
right. All right, so it's really hot right here.
Yes.
So I'm gonna make an educated guess and say that that's the oven. How hot is it in there?
It's 700 Fahrenheit.
At all times for all breads?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
This bread will bake during like 20 seconds. From the beginning of the oven to the end, 20 seconds.
So in just 20 seconds, the baking process is complete. Wow, look at that.
Be careful, it's hot.
Ooh, ah.
And that's the bread with the nice perforation.
Right.
So as you can see, you have the
Right.
nice perforation here.
And
Wow.
also, what's
Nice
very,
and warm.
what's very proprietary to
Hold
our
that tight.
formulation production are these little bubbles. I mean, that's our trademark. Having
Right.
all these little bubbles on the surface of the product.
Wow.
Now earlier, sometimes you see them get stuck right here. So there's somebody always watching, right? To make sure that it doesn't jam the whole operation.
And we never put back the bread on the
Oh, where you want
I'll put it in my pocket. I'll put it in my pocket.
I'm fired.
You can eat it.
That's why your quality assurance.
Exactly.
You can eat it, but you can't put it down.
I'll share with
Okay.
you.
I
We're
like.
breaking bread together. You want to break bread with us?
I definitely do. But the only thing we're missing is you have to bless the bread.
We got to make it kosher.
If you want to know where to find this delicious pita bread that Monsignor Jamie is totally hogging for himself, you can actually go here. And stay tuned because Monsignor Jamie is going to take us to his personal kitchen to cook up something that might or might not be able to compete with this delicious bread.
Wait and see.
With storms, natural disasters, and emergencies happening more frequently, communication is key for protecting our children. That's why the Diocese of Brooklyn is using the DeSales Emergency Alert System. It's a new free app for parents, teachers, administrators, bus drivers, everyone at Brooklyn and Queens Catholic schools and academies. The DeSales Emergency Alert System is a free app that you download to your smartphone.
It's a simple way to keep our kids safe. Just download the DeSales Emergency Alert app. Do it now. Create an account, find your child's school group, and stay connected.
Welcome back to Breaking Bread. On today's cooking segment, we'll be preparing two very simple appetizers, something you can prepare in a matter of minutes. The first one is an artichoke and spinach dip. The other is a clam dip. So let's go. We first start out with some artichoke hearts from the can, and what I do is I drain them to get all of the vinegar out of them. I rinse them with water. I then put them on a pan, or I should say a cutting board, and what I do is I just chop them up. We'll chop these up. I use 2 cans of artichoke hearts, and this will fill a casserole dish. This dish is great because you can prepare it ahead of time, put it in the refrigerator, and then cook it, or you can cook it and then reheat it, and it's going to taste the same. You don't want to cut it up too fine, but you don't want to have any leaves. So once we chop the artichoke hearts up, we're going to put them in a bowl. Okay. There we go. I now have my chopped spinach, and I just used a frozen spinach, chopped spinach, or you can use fresh spinach and just cook it, chop it up. Put that in here. Okay. Then we take some mayonnaise. Just about a half a cup of mayonnaise, half a cup of sour cream, a half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Put this over here. And take some fresh pepper. Salt, and all we do is mix it together. It's very simple, very easy to prepare. Now this can be served with crackers. Some people like to get a loaf of bread, a round loaf of bread, Italian bread, or whole wheat loaf, and put it in the dip right down the center and use the pieces of bread to dip in. And what's nice about this dish is that if you have any left over, you can just pop it in the microwave and use it again. This dip is served hot, I should have said. It's served warm. I now take a little non-stick spray, put it in a casserole dish. Okay. And then take the dip, put it in the casserole dish. Scrape the bowl, get it all out, spread it around. Now this dish, as I said, is served warm, and you can either put it in the microwave for about
3 to 4 minutes, or you could put it in the oven for about 15 minutes. So that's our artichoke and spinach dip. The next is our clam dip, and that's a very simple dish as well. I have here 2 cans of chopped clams in the clam juice itself, and I use that juice. We then take some breadcrumbs, and I have seasoned Italian breadcrumbs in here, about a half a cup. And then have some Parmesan cheese and fresh cut Italian parsley. Some freshly cut garlic. Okay. I like to put a little hot pepper in there, make it a little spicy. Fresh lemon juice. And I like to put a little bit of butter, a little bit too much there, about a teaspoon of butter. Okay. With this now, we just mix this together. Mix that all together, and we're going to put that also in a little casserole dish. Now this looks a little loose, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more breadcrumbs, because you don't want it too loose. I think that did it. There. See how that just kind of all blended together? Because this also, like the artichoke dip, you can serve with crackers, pita chips, or you can eat it without anything. What I like about these 2 dishes is that they can be prepared ahead of time, and they don't take much to cook once you want to serve them. We're going to put a little bit more of this nonstick spray. It's a little casserole dish. This here is ready to go. Mix it up a little bit. So we're ready now to put these in the oven for about 15 minutes at 375 degrees. Let's see how our dips are doing. We have our artichoke that looks done. Piping hot. Here we have our clam dip and our artichoke dip, piping hot. And you can serve this with crackers, bread, or eat it just like it is. If you like the recipe, here it is. And if you would like to have your recipe featured on Breaking Bread, you can email us at breakingbread@thesalesmedia.org. The Catholic Church is blessed to be made up of all different cultures and ethnic groups, some of which express their Catholicism in ways different from the experience of Roman Catholics. Each of these cultures enjoy their own food traditions, which they have all brought here to Brooklyn and Queens, creating a rich option for all of us that call the Diocese of Brooklyn home. Today we visited Damascus Bakery in downtown Brooklyn. The owners of the bakery are Eastern Rite Catholics belonging to the Maronite Catholic Church and the parish of Our Lady of Lebanon Cathedral in Brooklyn Heights. The founder of the Maronite Church, St. Maron, believed that all was connected to God and God was connected to all. He did not separate the physical and spiritual world. He actually used the physical world to deepen his faith and spiritual experience with God. This aspect of his spirituality reminds us that God is greater than all, and all that he created is good and beautiful. We should enjoy the beauty of God, especially when we gather around tables that are different from what we are used to. This is Monsignor Jamie A, asking that together we continue to build a church by devoting ourselves to community, prayer, the teaching of the apostles, and the breaking of the bread. May God bless you.
This show is brought to you by Salon Phoenix. Salon Phoenix is a full-service hair salon where contemporary hair trends rise above to embrace your individual style. Located at 2205 Avenue U in Brooklyn. Salon Phoenix. Come, be part of our family. Mention NetTV and receive 25% off your first service.